way to give a speech. Remember that every time you open your mouth in public, it's an occasion for an outbreak of foot-in-mouth disease. Now, I'm going to address my remarks, and I hope the families and friends will forgive me here. I'm going to address my remarks primarily to the judge in a court of law. By the way, if talking to a judge, it's hopefully in your capacity as a successful attorney, and not his or her client. But even if you are the accused, the ability to make a good speech can be useful. Let's take a lesson from history. The 18th century was the golden age of hanging judges in England, and the most infamous hanging judge of them all was Judge Jeffreys. 2 men were brought before him for stealing lead, which was a roofing material from a church roof. This found that they had not actually removed the lead from the roof, they had merely loosened it when they were arrested. Actually, until a few years ago, the guy who made this subtle distinction between removing lead and loosening it actually had descendants in Hope, Arkansas, though I believe they've now moved to New York. Judge Jeffreys conceded the point. In passing sentence, they were to be transported to the colonies for the lesser crime of criminal trespass. He said, "Thy zeal for religion has taken thee to the top of the church." And that was true, for it was on the roof where they were arrested. He continued, "Had ye removed the lead, it would have taken thee higher still." Indeed so, they would have been hanged and dispatched to meet their maker. One of the greatest orators in this country is Abraham Lincoln. After Edward Everett had droned on for 2 hours at Gettysburg, delivering a speech recalled only today by professional historians, Lincoln spoke for less than 4 minutes. The Gettysburg Address may be one of the finest speeches in the history of the English language. The first rule of public speaking is to keep it snappy and brief. This is one of those cases where length isn't everything. The Gettysburg Address begins with the words, "407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal." Now you may have noticed, if you've been following CNN, that politicians don't talk this way anymore. As the novelist Robertson Davis has justly remarked, and I'll quote him, "The average politician goes through a sentence like a man exploring a disused mine shaft, blind, groping, timorous, and in imminent danger of cracking his shins on a subordinate clause or a nasty bit of subjunctive." He continues, "There is a popular superstition that a politician who hangs himself on his own parentheses is likely to be an honest fellow, uncorrupted by schooling." Only last year we could find a politician in a national election seeking the educational vote by remarking, "We want teachers to know how to teach the science of reading in order to make sure there's not this kind of federal cufflink." If something tell me what a federal cufflink is, you can enlighten me afterwards. He added, "Rarely is the question asked, is our children learning?" His solution is simple. He says, "We ought to make the pie higher." Adding, "I know how hard it is to put food on your family." As that great political commentator Dan Quayle once remarked, trying to get his tongue around the motto of the NAACP, "What a waste it is to lose one's mind." Well, not to have a mind is being very wasteful. How true that is. I couldn't have said it better. By the way, avoid useless advice. Speakers at occasions like this seem unduly tempted to say things such as, "The future lies ahead of you." Gee, where else does it lie? More recently, a presidential candidate observed, "More and more of our imports are coming from overseas." Gee, where else would they be coming from? He added, "It must be a budget, it's got numbers in it." These mystical remarks reminiscent of Chong Su, could have been uttered by a Yogi Berra that is. And increasingly these days, like Yogi said, it looks like deja vu all over again. Now, since most public speakers, and I certainly include myself in this bracket, lack Abraham Lincoln's oratorical skills, my advice is to steal freely from great speeches delivered by other more noted orators. Over the years, I have stolen lines from Britain's wartime leader, Sir Winston Churchill. Now, students, cast your minds back 4 years. How many of you remember the speeches you heard from administrators such as Dr. Bach and the Deans when you first arrived at ETSU, telling you that your educational experience here would be a nurturing process of ongoing psychosocial, spiritual self-realization? Sort of like 4 years at Disneyland here in Imagine then for the moment how different it would have been if Dr. Bach had given you the advice that Winston Churchill gave the British people at the dawn of World War II. I'll try and get my best Churchill voice on. I promise you blood, sweat and tears. It will be long, it will be hard, but there shall be no withdrawal. We shall fight them on the beaches. You can imagine that it would have been very different. Your expectations would have been changed. And you'd have worked harder in calculus. And look, for all the blood, sweat and tears, there has been no withdrawal because you're all here to receive honours. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Of course, you can't be too obvious about your borrowings from the words and thoughts of others. 2 years ago, in 1999, I received an essay that began, as I sit here writing this in 1954, I did not need to read further to know that my student was none other than Albert Einstein himself. Winston Churchill could be quite creative. When King George, father to the present Queen of England, died, Churchill went on BBC Radio to say, "Before the King died, his last words were to me, 'Prime Minister, is all well with the Empire?' I assured him it was, and with that he passed away." Sounds nice. Years later, what actually happened was recounted in the autobiography of the royal physician. The learned medical men were discussing the king's condition in his bedchamber, and they were debating about whether to take him to the coastal resort of Bognor Regis. Bognor Regis is a cold, damp, miserable, wind-blown British version of Virginia Beach, where invalids would go to take the benefit of the brisk fresh air. On hearing this and knowing what Bognor Regis was really like, the king rose off his pillows and delivered 2 words with his dying breath. They were, "Bugger Bognor." So much for the state of empire. However, don't be too obvious with your inventions. Not even Churchill, whose own written history of the Second World War is a testament to creative writing skills, would have claimed to have invented the internet. As George Bush rightly remarked in the campaign, if Al Gore invented the internet, how come all those internet addresses begin with W? By the way, and this will be a problem here before too much longer, don't be afraid to deal sternly with hecklers, the nemesis of all public speakers. Lady Astor once interrupted a Churchill speech in Parliament by saying, "Mr. Churchill, you were my husband, I'd put poison in your coffee." Churchill replied without missing a beat, "Madam, if I were your husband, I'd drink it." If, on the other hand, you really must heckle a speaker, do it properly. I know of no finer example than one I saw broadcast in the Canadian House of Parliament when the late Pierre Trudeau was Prime Minister. Trudeau was giving one of his famous speeches which an honourable member from Northern Alberta felt was frankly short on facts and long on bull. And while you can heckle the Prime Minister, you can't actually stop him unless you know the rules of order, which the honourable member from Alberta did. He yelled, Mr. Speaker, point of order, point of order. Since a point of order must always be attended to, the Speaker of the House halted the Prime Minister in mid-sentence and asked the honourable member what his point of order was, to which he replied, Mr. Speaker, would it be unparliamentary language to refer to the Prime Minister as a lying SOB? He actually used stronger language which called the Prime Minister's parental lineage into account. We can't use that for the sake of the delicate ears of the platform party. On being assured by the Speaker that such a mode of address would indeed be unparliamentary language, the member from Alberta said he stood corrected and promptly sat down. Of course, we are not all as swift as Churchill. So, when the audience starts signs of getting restive and disruptive, when folks at the back, and I see one or two, bring out the brown paper bags containing rotten produce, you really got to have an exit strategy. Here's one I have used successfully more than once. Always have a plant in the audience. Now, I can usually get a volunteer from one of my classes. Someone is always eager to earn some extra credit towards the final grade. At an agreed signal, oh, and John, this is just a demonstration. At an agreed signal, mine is placing a finger to each temple. Thus, the plant in the audience starts to yell and shout and thrash around, knocking chairs over. In the ensuing confusion, you can usually exit stage left, unnoticed, and if you're really lucky, unremembered. To those of you here to receive honours and awards tonight, I wish you all the best for the future and hope that you continue to enjoy the success in later life that you have enjoyed here at ETSU. Your professors, and I count myself as one of them, are very lucky indeed to have had the privilege to teach such wonderful students. Congratulations to each and every one of them. A last piece of advice. Always expect the unexpected. My closing words to you are the same as the very last words uttered by Confederate Colonel James T. Beauregard at Bull Run. Those damn Yankees, they couldn't hit a barn door at this distance. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. James. And now it is my privilege to introduce the stage party. To my right, Dr. John Taylor, Professor of Reading and President of the ETSU chapter of the Honor Society of Phi Kappa Phi. Dr. Philip Bagnell, Executive Associate Dean for Academic and Faculty Affairs at the James H. Quillen College of Medicine. Shanks Met, Dr. Don Johnson, Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. Dr. Carol Hyder, Interim Dean of the College of Applied Science and Technology. Dr. Paul E. Bays, Chair of the Department of Accountancy, who is representing the Dean of the College of Business. Dr. Martha Collins, Dean of the College of Education. Dr. Pat Smith, Professor of Nursing, representing the Dean of the College of Nursing. Dr. Wilsie Bishop, Dean of the College of Public and Allied Health. Dr. Norma McCrae, Vice Provost for Public Service and Dean of Continuing Studies. Dr. Roberta Herron, Associate Dean of the School of Graduate Studies. Dr. Rebecca Piles, Director of the University Honors Programs. And Mr. Paul Bays, Registrar of East Tennessee State University. I would also like to introduce Mr. Fred Sauceman, Executive Assistant to the President, who will announce our honorees this evening. He is being assisted by Dr. Jay Boland, Associate Director of the University Honors Program. And I would like to introduce Mr. Kyle Jackson from the Registrar's Office, who is providing our music this evening. At this time, I would ask all students receiving the associate degree with honor recognition to please come forward.
Academic Performance Scholarship, Suntrust Scholarship, Beta Gamma Sigma, Alpha Lambda Delta. Christopher Bradley Campbell, Geography. Teresa Naomi Epperson, English. Margaret Duggar, English Scholarship, Phi Kappa Phi, Golden Key Honor Society, Beta Beta Beta, Sigma Tau Delta, Alpha Sigma Lambda. Award for Academic Excellence 1996, ETSU at Kingsport. First place in the Kingsport Literary Essay Contest 1996. Essay Contest winner 1995, ETSU at Kingsport. Tara Aspen Britton, Applied Human Sciences. Academic Performance Scholarship, Golden Key Honor Society, Kappa Omicron Nu, President, and Pi Delta Phi. Sudipta Roy, Psychology, ETSU Alumni Scholarship, Psi Chi, Golden Key Honor Society. Kim Winona Jennings, Mathematics, Alpha Sigma Lambda, Kappa Mu Epsilon. Brian Christopher Weaver, Engineering Technology. Tennessee Association of College and University Residence Halls Distinguished Service Award. Ritu Khanna, Biology and History. University Honors Scholar, Golden Key Honor Society, Phi Kappa Phi, Gamma Beta Phi, Student Faculty Collaborative Research Grant, Biology Department Research Grant, Outstanding Student Award, Department of Biological Sciences, 2001. Outstanding Student Award, Department of History, 2001. First place, Annual Student Research Forum, Undergraduate Division B. Abigail Susan Lamb, Art, University Honors Scholar, Phi Kappa Phi. Kimberly Ann Wills Lewis, Music, University Honors Scholar, Howell Choral Scholarship, Ellen B. Ross Scholarship, Teresa Bowers Scholarship, Pi Kappa Lambda, Walmart Scholarship, Farm Bureau Scholarship, National Merit Scholar. Adriana Marie Bola, English, University Honors Scholar, Gamma Beta Phi, Omicron Delta Kappa, National Residence Hall Honorary, ETSU Unsung Hero Award 2000, Who's Who Among Students in American Universities and Colleges, ETSU Leadership Hall of Fame Award 2001, TACHRH Distinguished Service Award. April Dawn New, Biology, University Honors Scholar, Beta Beta Beta, Phi Kappa Phi, Alpha Lambda Delta, Golden Key Honor Society. Chinwe Obiaku, Finance, University Honors Scholar, Delta Sigma Pi Undergraduate Scholarship, Omicron Delta Kappa, Golden Key Honor Society, Beta Gamma Sigma, Phi Kappa Phi, President Delta Sigma Pi, National Dean's List, Resident Advisor Award for Excellence in Academics, Office of Housing and Residence Life, President, Dean, Student Advisory Board, College of Business, Top Finance Major in Corporate Finance, 2000-2001, College of Business, Regional Collegian of the Year, Delta Sigma Pi, Dean's Service Award, College of Business, 2001. Pauline Therese Rewa, English, University Honors Scholar. Rebecca Lindley Reed, English and Political Science, University Honors Scholar, SBS Leadership Scholarship, National Tylenol Scholarship, Dan Reporter Scholarship, Rotary Scholarship for Overall Excellence, James L. Bomer Scholarship, National Beta Scholarship, Sam Walton Scholarship, Southern Dames Association Scholarship, Phi Kappa Phi, Sigma Tau Delta, Gamma Beta Phi, Alpha Lambda Delta, ETSU Unsung Hero Award, J.C. Penney Golden.
The state authority exit the auditorium.